Alrighty. Good afternoon, YouTube. Thank you for joining us for today's big weather event that we're talking about mostly across the eastern US. We're also going to get into the weekend weather. I'm going to make sure I have a couple of technical things set up here just to make sure we're good to go. But in the meantime, if you've not already downloaded the Weather and Radar app, please do so. It's going to have everything you need to not only plan for these types of events, but for any weather event in the future. And you get up to 4 days of weather forecast for free, completely for free, that you can see and plan out your days ahead. So be sure to download that app. It's completely free. And I've left in the description every way you can get to us. So the app, any social media, and then also the website so you can see all the latest details. Alrighty. Let me double check here. If you can hear me, if you can't hear me, or if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. I'll be checking comments throughout this live as well. Just if you have any questions about what's going on, whether it be for today's weather or for anything for the weekend, let me know. I'll also be checking the comments after the live is over, just so we can keep everybody up to date. If you've got a question, it's likely somebody else has the exact same question. So be sure to share those with us, and you'll be able to help other people along the way as well. Alrighty. Let's get into it. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the weather radar. This is available for free on your Weather and Radar app, and this is showing the very large storm system that we're going to be talking about for most of this live. That is bringing not only severe weather across the eastern U.S., especially across the Tennessee Valley and lower Ohio Valley, but also winter weather, and will continue to bring winter weather and gusty winds. So first, let's take a look at the severe weather that's going on. And you can see clearly right here on the weather radar that we've got a lot of lightning going on, especially here in the lower Ohio Valley, into the Tennessee Valley, and even into northern Alabama and Georgia. So I'll zoom in here. If you see these yellow dots anywhere on your weather radar or coming to your area, that's lightning. And if you've got the orange dot that does show up, that shows that there is a lot of lightning happening in that one area. It usually means a pretty strong storm is happening. So we've got this line of storms coming through here. This is the low pressure system that is circulating in a counterclockwise manner. And this is bringing up a bunch of Gulf of Mexico moisture and making that surge northward as it sucks it up into that low pressure. And that is allowing for those severe storms to be ignited across the Tennessee and lower Ohio Valley. We've even got storms happening over up into southeastern Illinois going on right now. So we're seeing a lot of storm activity this afternoon, and we're going to continue to see that through the rest of the afternoon as well. I mentioned the wind that is happening across the eastern U.S. with this storm system. Let's take a look at the wind radar here, just so I can give you an idea of what that's really looking like right now. This is our wind radar, which shows the constant gusts that are going on. So you got these streamlines right here. You see them all coming up and into that low pressure, into that counterclockwise circulation. And look at these gusts that we're seeing here across the lower Ohio Valley and Tennessee Valley. We've got gusts in the 60 mile per hour range here, with even higher gusts here across the Smoky Mountains and getting into the Appalachians a little bit here too, into the West Virginia Appalachians. These gusts are, some of them are associated with that storm line that is happening, but we've got these gusts that are happening here across western Kentucky and northwestern Tennessee. These are not associated with the storms. These are just with this system and how much it is strengthening that is causing these gusts to really kick up. And we're going to see that throughout the afternoon here as this storm system does enhance over the next couple of hours. Now, I'll give you an idea of what that means as far as a low pressure strengthening. So let me bring up the look of, let's bring this up. And I'll be able to show you that low pressure system and why we're seeing those gusty winds. So let me bring this up for you. This is a mesoscale look at the storm system. You can see these really tight lines that are around the low pressure right here. The tighter they are, the quicker the difference in pressure that is happening across these lines here. So as we get closer to the low pressure right here, you see it's a tighter gradient right across western Kentucky into northwestern Tennessee, and that's where we saw those really gusty winds. So you've got that quicker change in pressure, so you've got those really gusty winds happening across that area. And this storm system is going to continue to strengthen. When I say strengthen, I mean that these lines are going to get tighter. It's really going to organize and tighten, and it's going to move off into the northeast eventually. And we're going to talk about that and what that's going to bring here soon. So I wanted to show you that just to see what exactly is causing these gusty winds. So anyone who is experiencing those gusty winds, be sure to stay away from windows, from doors. They can pick up any loose objects outdoors pretty easily and send them flying. You don't want to be in the way of that. So as these gusty winds do continue, be sure to stay away from any loose objects outdoors or any windows and doors if you are inside. So let me bring back the wind radar really quick. And I'm going to double check here for some questions too. Again, if you have any questions, it's likely someone else has the exact same question. So we want to make sure that everybody is getting exactly the information that they're looking for. And if you've got a question, someone else has the exact same question. So, all right, here's the wind radar for that. So that is why we are seeing these gusty winds across western Kentucky into northwestern Tennessee. And, gusty winds, these are extending all the way across the eastern U.S. here. You're able to see this all on the wind radar and how much these are gusting. So be sure to keep an eye out for that, especially if you're heading outdoors. It's also pretty tough to drive in a high-profile vehicle in these gusty winds. It can easily tip. You can feel them rocking, especially if a big gust come by. You're able to feel that wind. So be careful out there as you're going throughout your day. So we've got that severe weather that we just discussed that's happening from this low-pressure system. And we're going to go into what kind of threats we're seeing for this afternoon. As they've been kicking up since this morning, we've had tornado watches issued all morning from the National Weather Service. So we're going to get into what that looks like across the Tennessee and Lower Ohio Valley there. All right. This is the Storm Prediction Center. We're seeing an enhanced risk right now, which is with as much as a marginal and slight risk extending all the way out to the East Coast. And the enhanced risk is a level 3 out of 5, which means this is the area where we're going to see the strongest impacts from these severe storms. And we're going to go through the kind of threats that are coming with these storms for the rest of the afternoon. As I said, we've seen that all morning so far, and we're going to continue to see it this afternoon as this low pressure does strengthen and move east to the northeast. So let's get into this first. This is what the tornado risk looks like. So this area in yellow here, this hatched area, is where we're going to see the greatest chance for strong tornadoes that are very possible within the line of storms coming through. We've already seen reports here from the National Weather Service. We've seen reports of tornadoes already, with damaging winds have been the biggest threat from these storms. Let's get into the wind threat here in a moment. But again, tornadoes are possible embedded in that line of storms. So it's not going to be just this little cell that you're seeing popping up on the weather radar. You're going to see this line of storms, and there's likely there could be a tornado embedded in there. So heed any warnings that you do receive: severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings. There's already tornado watches out there. Heed those warnings when you do get it. Go to your innermost location in your home or office, away from doors and windows. Make sure you have as many rooms and walls between you and the outdoors. Or go to a shelter location. A mobile home or a manufactured home is not a place to shelter. Be sure to go to a shelter location that is safer. Those can quickly be damaged, and a lot of people can get hurt if you're sheltering in a mobile or manufactured home. So be sure to go to a safe shelter location. And then for the winds, as I've said, the winds are the main event when it comes to this storm. So we've got a big threat across the Tennessee and Lower Ohio Valley for these damaging winds, especially here all the way down into northern Georgia, northeastern Alabama, and into the southern Ohio area. Cincinnati's included in there. So we're seeing winds that are 75 mile per hour or greater with the gusts. And as we've seen on the wind radar, that is very much happening. So like I said earlier, any loose objects that are outdoors can quickly be picked up and unfortunately can cause a lot of damage and even hurt if someone is in the way. So be sure to keep an eye out for that as these storms are moving through and as this system is really moving through, right? As I said, as it's going to continue to strengthen, it's not just the severe storms that's causing this wind. It's the system itself, just because of the strengthening of it, that is causing this big wind event. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. And then there is a little bit of a hail threat as we go through the afternoon as these storms continue. You could see some pea-sized to quarter-size hail, so just keep an eye out for that. That can cause damage as well. So that, in addition to tornadoes and the winds, we're seeing, three threats here from the storms as they do move through today. So be sure to heed those warnings as you do receive them. All right, let me see what I can get into here. These are the storm warnings that have come through already for today. A lot of these blue dots here, those are damaging wind reports. And then we've got in Western Kentucky a tornado report. So as we go about in the next day or so, the National Weather Service will be going out and looking at any damage that occurred from these storms to confirm whether or not there was actually a tornado on the ground. So be sure to keep an eye out for anything that is coming through with the severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings that do come through. We saw this storm system cause a lot of trouble across the southern plains into the Arklatex yesterday with tornadoes, damaging winds. Again, the damaging winds, it's going to be a reoccurring thing I'm going to say throughout this event. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. I'm going to double check for questions here. Awesome. Okay, cool. And let me make sure. Okay, great. So moving right along. So I said how this system is not only causing the severe weather, we've got a little bit more to go with it. So you see all of these brown shapefiles that are across the map here. That is the wind event that is happening. These are wind advisories and high wind warnings. This is on the National Weather Service that is giving all these advisories and warnings about this wind event. So see how far it extends across the eastern U.S. here. Then we're getting into the pinks and purples here. We're going to talk about the winter weather that's coming with this storm as it does strengthen. So let me get back to the weather radar so that we can see what's going on and what we're going to see over the next couple of days here. Okay, great. So again, this is the weather radar, and it shows rain, lightning, snow, ice, just about everything on there, and temperatures that we're seeing too. So you can get a great view up to 4 days ahead of time to see what the weather's going to be like in your area, anywhere around the world. And this is all of the tools that I'm showing you right now for the wind radar, weather radar, and soon to be the temperature radar and the rain radar, all available to you for free. So be sure to download the app and get ready for any weather event with that. All right, so let's look. We got a live look right now of what's going on as far as the winter side. So this northern flank of the storm system here is tapping into colder air coming down from the north. And what that is creating is obviously some ice and some snowfall. Even around here in my area in western Maryland, we did see a mix of rain, big snowflakes, and a little bit of grapple around the area as well, as the storm system does tap into that cooler air. So we're starting to see a little bit of that as we move into the northeast here. And then we're going to see it a lot across the upper Midwest into the lower Great Lakes, especially into southern Michigan here. So they're already seeing snowfall. We already got snowfall happening across the higher elevations in Pennsylvania as well, and even into the Maryland Panhandle. So we're going to continue to see that throughout the day, and even into the overnight hours as the storm system continues to move off to the northeast, eventually becoming a nor'easter and tapping into that cold air. So let's take a look at what the rest of today looks like. So we're going to see this snowfall start to fill in across the Midwest and into the lower Great Lakes here. This is about 4 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock Central. And you can move forward anywhere for the weather radar. You can move forward in time just to see what that's going to look like. So we can see the snowfall really rapidly becoming very heavy. As the colors do get darker, that's when the precipitation is heavier. It doesn't matter for rain, which is the blue, pink for snow, and the orange is for the freezing precipitation. So that frozen mix, that ice that we don't want to see, unfortunately. So that is going to be mixing in across the area as the storm does continue to move off and strengthen. So we're going to see some heavier rain moving into the mid-Atlantic and even into the Carolinas here and the Ohio Valley as the storm system continues to move into the northeast. And this is going to last well through overnight and even into tomorrow morning. And we're going to see this start to move out of the Midwest by tomorrow morning. So this is midnight. So we're seeing it start to move out of here. Temperatures are going to be colder as it leaves that cold air behind. So be sure to pack a heavier jacket for tomorrow if you're across the Midwest as the storm does leave. But it's going to move more into the northeast. We got the frozen precipitation happening across here in southern New York and northern Pennsylvania. Heavy snow right across New England and into the upper northeast area. So ski areas are going to be rejoicing with all the good snow coming in. So get ready for that. But this is something that you want to stay home, have some hot cocoa, no need to go out, especially when you're getting this ice and heavy snow. Stay home, look at the weather radar to see when this is going to be ending, and then plan your weekend after, right? So they're going to see this continue through the overnight hours, even to the northeast, well into Saturday. This is Saturday morning. And then it's going to finally taper off and move out into the Atlantic by Saturday afternoon into the evening hours, with some snow showers being left behind here in the northeast. So another thing to get ready for is that heavy snowfall. We could see anywhere up to 14 inches here across the Midwest, especially into southern Michigan. Could see up to 14 inches. And then up into the northeast, we could see up to 12 inches into eastern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Massachusetts and southern Maine as well, up to a foot of snow. So you'll want to keep an eye out for that. There's winter weather warnings, winter weather advisories, and winter storm warnings already issued for this. All right, one last thing we want to take a look at for this weekend. So this is all while that nor'easter is happening. We've got another system in the west getting ready to move in. So this is what the weather radar looks like right now. But as this goes on, there's a low pressure that is sitting off here, off the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be pretty stationary over the next couple of days and just continue to bring all that Pacific moisture into the west. Something that they obviously need with the drought situation going on. But it is a lot, especially after this very historic storm that happened this past week, where people were unfortunately stuck in their homes high in the mountains across California. And because of that snowfall, the really heavy packed, several feet of snowfall. So we're going to be seeing a lot more snow move in this weekend, and this is going to continue throughout Saturday, into Sunday, and even into Monday. And this is eventually going to reach into the northern tier and then further into California here by Sunday and then throughout the day that day. So more snow. March is coming in like the lion, like we thought. So we are going to be keeping an eye out for that. The Weather and Radar Meteorologist, we all are keeping you updated throughout all of these weather events as we go through the next month. Everything's going to be kicking up. We're going to be seeing more winter weather and definitely severe weather as we get further into spring. So be sure to download the app. Heed those warnings that come through. Have at least 3 ways to receive severe weather, winter weather, any kind of weather warning to make sure you can stay on top of the situation and plan your week. Plan your days ahead with the up to 4 days of maps for free. And you can see that anywhere throughout the world. You can look into friends and family's forecasts as well. So I'm going to double check any questions. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to head over to Facebook right now. If you've just joined us, head over to Facebook with me and we'll be going over the exact same thing if you missed anything. And be sure to, if you've thought of a question, ask it over there too. All right. Thank you all so much.